All right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co host, Jake Ellenbogen, and we are coming to you after a nice, long, much needed Rams bye week. Jake, it's no secret, the Rams have had a pretty awful start to the season. One of the most terrible starts, I think, for this Rams team in recent memory. And in a way, this early bye week was a blessing. I think you and I are on the same page. This week 6 bye week for the Rams, we got to all reset, not just the team, the fan base, you and me. We all got to reset. Jake, did you have a good bye week?
I had a hectic bye week. As you can see, all dressed
Yeah,
up.
Jake is in a suit. For those of you who are listening and aren't watching, Jake just came from a wedding rehearsal,
Yes.
and he's crunched for time, I'll say that. So he's still wearing his suit. Had I known that Jake was going to be in a suit, I would have shown up in a dress. I did not know that he wasn't going to be changing, so I am literally wearing a sweatshirt with my hair up in a bun. We
It's the
could not look.
best, like, inverse, like, I don't
Mm,
know. I think this fits our style. Anybody
it
that
really
watches this
does.
show, like, yeah, it works. And I can't even
Yeah.
tell you why, it just does.
It just we're both in our true form right now. Yeah, could not be dressed for two more different occasions. But so yeah, good bye week. Hectic, Jake.
It was hectic. Yeah. I mean, as you know, I know a lot of Rams fans are also Dodger fans, so they don't care, but I also cover the Yankees. So that's been wild. And the Rams, like, they're still an organization that always has stuff going on. So, of course, we got updates, Cooper Kupp potentially playing this week. He's trying to, you find out, Tyler Higbee, he's hoping to get back soon. And Steve Avila, and we got just all sorts of updates from Sean McVay that, look, they're trying to get these guys back ASAP, but they're also going to be, very smart about this because you don't want to rush guys back too soon. But Alexis, I don't think, and I'm gonna say this, I don't think the Rams need Cooper Kupp to win this Sunday, and that's the good thing. We always hear get right games, and I think I'm kind of over it, to be honest with you. I'm over. It sounds so corny. It's so cliche. But if there was ever a get right game, it's a game against a team that doesn't know who their quarterback is. It's a game against a team that just traded away their best player. It's a game against a team that just had their now obviously best player, Max Crosby, shove a coach on the sideline. This team is in shambles right now. It just is. And they're playing at home. They're back at SoFi. So not only do you get to stay in LA for a bye week, but Alexis, you get to sleep in your own bed and get ready and play at SoFi Stadium. So you're staying home throughout the whole time. That's a big deal. I do think that this is going to be the best game we've seen all year from the Rams. That might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but I think this is going to be the most complete game of the year for them.
I agree with that. Coming out of the bye, going into this game against the Raiders. Let's get into it, Jake. What's the I'm laughing at you, just the face that you made.
No,
I'm
so guys, full disclosure. So Alexis was asking me what I did for the bye week, and then typical, me who's just like this, like tunnel vision almost. I didn't ask her what she did for the bye week. So that's why she's laughing. So what did you do for the bye week, Alexis?
Well, Jake, I was shooting a short film in
Yes.
Michigan that I was cast in. So I was, and everybody who follows me on Twitter already knows this. So this isn't, the first time I'm saying this, but yeah, I was in Michigan, and I totally was not focused on football. So I really meant it the last episode, when I was like, I'm not going to be focused on football at all during the bye week. I really wasn't. I didn't watch any other games. I couldn't. I was filming all day that Sunday and that entire weekend. So that's where I was.
I can't wait to watch that.
So yeah, it's I can't wait for everyone to see it. And Jake, you know a little bit about it, but
Mhm.
I can't say anything about it. I have had a lot of people who have been messaging me on Twitter about it because they saw me posting, and they kind of were like, "What's the genre? What's the plot?" I can't say anything, so I'm sorry, I can't say anything. What I can say is that I do have a lead role, and that it will be available for people to stream whenever it comes out. And I can't say the genre, but I can do more than comedy, guys. I'll say that.
Yes, you're multifaceted. Oh, you know who else
Mm-hmm.
can do more in comedy? Your idol, Aubrey Plaza, who's actually, I understand it's somewhat like comedy, Agatha all along, but that's a interesting little role for her. And she was also in Emily the Criminal and,
Yes.
Black Bear.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in some different stuff. So look at you.
I'm, yeah, just trying to, do it all. But Agatha All Along, Jake and I both watch and adore. So, fun fact, if any of you watch Agatha All Along, definitely hit us up with your theories because Jake and I spend a vast amount of time talking about our theories. That show, it's very good. It's a very,
Yeah.
very, very good, very well done show. Um, but yeah, guys, stay on the lookout. I'll let people know when that movie comes out. But you know what else could be a movie, Jake? This Rams game against the Raiders, if the Rams do everything right. Because, listen, this Raiders team is not very good in general. That's just a fact. If you've watched them play this season, they haven't been very good. They too are a team in shambles. They have a lot of injuries. They just lost their star receiver Devontae Adams to a trade. He was traded to the Jets. They don't have a solid quarterback situation. They have a ton of injuries. I mean, Jake, looking at this injury report right now, I'm just gonna quickly. I mean, this is quite literally a laundry list. But as far as who is still not practicing as of Friday, Max Crosby, the star of that Raiders team, defensive end, one of the best in the league. He was on our show when he was a draft prospect. You and I both know Max. He's a very cool guy, but he's not practicing. Tommy Eichenberg, linebacker, not practicing. I'm going to scroll in on these names. They
I think
didn't
Jacoby
tweet.
Myers wasn't practicing.
He's still not practicing. Colton Miller, tackle, still not practicing. Dylan Parham, that's a tackle and a guard, not practicing. John Jenkins, defensive tackle, not practicing. Jack Jones, corner, not practicing. Looks like the rest of these people on this list as of Friday are full. Um, um, McGowa, linebacker. I don't know who that is, but he's also not practicing. I'm scrolling through this list, guys. I'm not exaggerating. If you go look right now, as of Friday, they
Laundry
literally have like
list.
a multi-page injury report. So yeah, this Raiders team banged up, Jake, already having a bad season. It's not looking good for them. We talk about kind of the Rams outlook. I know everyone wants to be doom and gloom about the Los Angeles Rams. And guys, this Raiders team is proof that it literally can be worse. It's not an excuse, but it can be worse. So Jake, looking at this Raiders team, I mean, we're gonna avoid using the term "get right" game for the Rams because I think it sets up bad juju. It sets up an excuse of a trap game. We're not going to use any of those terms, but Jake, what do the Rams need to do to beat this Raiders team?
Oh, well, this team plays into a lot of what the Rams are trying to do. First and foremost, they are going to be able to run the football like hell against this team. They're going to be able to run the football before the injuries. This team can't stop the run. They averaged about 140, 150 yards a game given up. So the Rams also have a hard time stopping the run. So I don't want to act like the Rams don't have an issue with that either. But the Raiders really have a hard time stopping the run. So I think this is going to be a heavy dose of Kyren Williams. I think we're going to see some Blake Corum. Sean McVay already mentioned that he's going to get more of an opportunity. But I have to preface with this. They are not going to give Blake Corum more reps and get rid of Kyren Williams reps. I think what they're saying is they're going to run the football more. And we all win if that's the case, right? So, I like that. I think the Rams, I really feel comfortable that they're going to win by more than a touchdown in this one because they're going to be able to run the football. The Raiders can't stop it. And the Raiders really struggle at defending in the red zone. And the Rams live in the red zone. And their biggest issue is that they can't score in the red zone. So one would think the Raiders on one side, they might be like, oh, well, the good news is we're going up against a team that can't score in the red zone. No, the bad news is that you're going up against a team that can't score in the red zone. They need any sort of momentum building activity. And this week is going to be that. I think they're going to have a fun time in the red zone this week, Alexis. I think this team has shown no ability to stop. And now I think the Rams, whether they have Cooper Kupp or not, they're going to be able to score. But if they have Cooper Kupp, this is a guy that's had 37 red zone touchdowns. He's had over 100 targets in the red zone. He's been very efficient. Aside from 2018 and 2022, Cooper Kupp has been the number one red zone target for the LA Rams. Now, 2018, he tore his ACL. In 2022, he missed half the season. So when you look at that, you're like, oh yeah, that's going to help out. But also, there was a time where they were able to just sit back, relax, reevaluate this team. And I think that's going to matter. And Sean McVay has yet to come out and say this and that about the linebacker spot, but he did confirm one thing. They're going to keep the secondary the same, which makes me feel really good, Alexis, because I thought that was the best secondary we've seen all year. They're going to keep them the same. They're going to get Xavier Smith some more opportunities. It sounds like Blake Corum some more opportunities. And they're going to be testing out, potentially we could see Joseph Noteboom over Logan Bruss at left guard. Bruss had a really bad game last week. Now, he was asked to do a lot. He's been stretched out. He never played on the left side. So his contributions are felt and they matter, and you should give him props. But he's not a left side offensive lineman. He works better on the right because of the experience. And make no mistake about it, people will hate on Joe Noteboom all they want. Joe Noteboom is a huge upgrade at left guard starting this weekend if he can play. So there's a lot to like coming out of the bye, Alexis. I don't think people realize it, but I think the Rams are about to go on a run, and it starts this Sunday against the Raiders.
I like that energy. I'm on the same page. I think particularly offensively, we're going to run the ball. I mean, it just makes too much sense. You look at what the Raiders defense gives up. You look at what the Rams are trying to do offensively. You look at what Kyren Williams has been able to do. I think that Kyren Williams is going to have a very big day against this Raiders defense. And I do think that Blake Corum is going to get involved, as he should. They tried to give him, more opportunities, in the last game. I think they're going to build upon that. I think this is the perfect defense to try that dual running back system, if that's what interests Sean McVay. But like you touched on, I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split by any means. In the running game, Kyren Williams just does too much. He's still really the only efficient running back in pass protection. So that's going to be pretty important. But it is going to help the Rams offensive line that Max Crosby is out. I mean, he's the heart and soul of that defense. And I shouldn't say he's out. I just say it's Friday and he's still not practicing. That seems to be a pretty good indicator that he's going to be out. So I feel confident in saying that. But Jake, let's look at our defense. Looking at our defense going against this Raiders offense, which is just, again, I mean, you talk about the heart and soul. The best player on that offense is Devontae Adams. He's gone. Jake, what is this Rams defense going to need to do to put the nail in the coffin for this Raiders offense?
Yeah, well, right now they have a quarterback, and they've had some issues, Alexis, at containing quarterbacks. They go outside the pocket. They can make plays. We saw that with Kyler Murray. That was almost the entire game. He was just running all over the place. Aiden O'Connell doesn't have one scramble this year. So if he does start, because who knows? I say they don't know who their quarterback is because I feel like they're starting Aiden O'Connell just because of the results they've had. But I think realistically, Gardner Minshew is the better player, right? But they are starting Aiden O'Connell. And looking at the Raiders, they just really don't have a lot going for them. And, they have some kind of low-key under the radar guys that I'm definitely monitoring. I think first and foremost, when, you look at their wide receivers and, right away you see a guy like Trey Tucker, a guy they invested a third-round pick in, they're going to give him a bigger opportunity. He's had some touchdowns. He's had some good stuff. DJ Turner's going to have a bigger role. And then Tyreek McAllister. These are guys that probably nobody knows. So these are going to be guys to key in on. But I'll tell you one thing the Raiders do better than anybody is get their tight end involved. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football right now. He is. He's better than everybody. And it's scary because you see what he's doing and you see like Michael Mayer's out and you think, oh, they have no one to throw to. No, this is why they drafted Brock Bowers. And everyone's like, how the hell did they take him? He's just the best in the league about what he's doing. He doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, only one on the year, but it's been really impressive to see, what he's been able to do. 37 catches for 384 yards, not really having a soul at quarterback. So that's what they've had there. I just think looking at this, you have two running backs. I don't know if Zamir White will play or not. Alexander Madison is a guy that's always been really consistent. They get Amir Abdullah and Dylan Lauby. They get those guys going out in the receiving game. So I think you just really have to stop Alexander Madison, make Aiden O'Connell throw it to a bunch of nobodies, and eliminate Brock Bowers. And I don't see how there's any path for them to score points, if I'm being honest with you. If you double Brock Bowers, I don't know who is going to score. Who's going to score? I couldn't tell you. Now, running backs, Alexander Madison, if he could get a semblance, any piece of decent blocking, he could make something happen against this defense that's had a hard time stopping the run. But I just don't think the Raiders are going to be in position to play that ball security, ball control running game style. I just don't. I think they're going to have to throw it. And I think we'll probably see Gardner Minshew in this game. I think Aiden O'Connell will probably get benched. We'll probably see Gardner Minshew. They just don't really have a lot of talent at wide receiver right now. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, I'm on the same page in terms of what I believe the Raiders' offensive game plan is going to be. I think you just got to try to get it going on the ground for the Raiders. I don't, I think that Aiden O'Connell is going to struggle. You try to force him to throw to these receivers. The receivers might struggle. Again, it's a new group. It's a young group. It's just not good vibes, and I know that neither you and I are trying to sit here and just absolutely knock down the Raiders and say that they're a terrible team and all this and get cocky. But I mean, we're just looking statistically at this Raiders team and just, again, missing so many people. It doesn't look good for them. But listen, I understand what the Rams have done this season. I understand that we are 1-4. And you are not going to see Jake and I sitting here saying that this is 100% a Rams win. I do not think that any game in the NFL is a 100% win. And you know what? The Rams have performed not well. They've performed way below expectations so far this season. And that's aside from injuries that are out of our control as well. So, as we go into our score predictions, I just wanted to say that to remind everybody that we are by no means, this is not a situation where Jake and I are trying to belittle the Raiders at all, because we understand more than anybody right now as Rams fans that things can just not go your way in a football season. But saying that, Jake, what is your score prediction for Rams Raiders this week?
Yeah, so before I give you my score prediction, I do want to start by saying I don't know if Jack Jones is going to play. I don't know if Darnay Holmes, how they're going to go about it, right? But they have some guys, Jacorian Bennett, Nate Hobbs, that have been playing really good football, Trayvon Merrick. That, to me, is the focal point of this team. This team has really just been a dominant passing team, pass defense, team. People might not even realize it, but the last 3 games, the Raiders have allowed the fewest passing yards in the league. Okay, so I do think there's some good things about the Raiders, but there's not a lot. And I think a lot of the pass yards and everything, it is, of course, when you look at just the coverage standpoint, but also Max Crosby has done a great job of putting pressure on quarterbacks that, he's helped them in that sense. With that said, I do think this is going to be a blowout. I do. I think the Rams are the better team. I think the Rams could beat anybody this week because I think they're going to make the necessary adjustments. And I think they're just long overdue for this bye. They got it. They're coming off it. I think they're going to win this game 33-14. I think this is going to be one of those where they just come out and they play their most complete style of football we see all year. I might be giving the Raiders too much credit with 14 points, but it's the NFL, so that's why I say that. The last time, of course, I predicted a blowout, it went, the opposite way against the Cardinals. But Alexis, we have to be honest with ourselves. There's zero chance, There's zero explanation. There's zero excuse to not win this game. This game is a blessing. This is more of a blessing than the bye week. If they had to play the Vikings, can you imagine if they had to play the Vikings without being on the bye week? They get to play the Raiders before they have a short week. That is a blessing without Davante Adams. This is a team that beat the Ravens, but they had Davante Adams to do it. And they had, Gardner Minshew. And for whatever reason, they freaked the hell out about Gardner Minshew, and now Aiden O'Connell's under center. To me, I don't think the better quarterback's playing. I like Aiden O'Connell as a prospect. I don't like him as a starting quarterback right now. And I just think there's no excuse for the Rams to lose this game.
Well, I'm with you. I think the Rams are going to win. I have them winning 28-13. And like you said, there is zero excuse for the Rams to lose this game, guys. Jake and I have talked about it at length now. The injury report speaks for itself. The lack of talent even before that. I mean, they have some guys that I shouldn't say lack of talent, but they do have some talented guys. Right now, a lot of them are hurt. Devontae Adams is gone. This team has a quarterback problem, and they haven't played well. So I'll be honest with you, and I said this to Jake, before we started recording. If the Rams lose this game, I'm out in the Rams for the rest of the year. What I mean by that is if the Rams lose to the Raiders, they fall to 1-5. That is not only statistically, but morally, from a locker room standpoint, going to be very hard to get out of. And to me, what that's going to show is that there's a fundamentally dark problem happening with the Rams right now if they were to lose this week. And I'm joking a little bit, but I'm not. I mean, really, guys, I really mean it. If the Rams cannot win this game, that is a very, very, very bad look for how the rest of the season is going to go. And Jake, I know you agree with me. He's shaking his head, and there is no excuse, absolutely none, for the Rams to lose at home this week to the Raiders. So I have them winning. Jake has them winning. I pray that we are right. Jake, to close out the show, 3 predictions for the game. Go.
All right, so let's start off with the first one. I'm going to go with the obvious low-hanging fruit. Sorry, Alexis, I have to. I'm going to go Kyren Williams here. I think he's going to go for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's one prediction. Okay, I'm making that one prediction. This is the Kyren Williams game. I just think a lot of people are just not understanding how freaking important this guy is to the team. David Montgomery was just signed to an extension, so I made a video about Kyren Williams that not a lot of people watched, a decent amount, but I think there's just not enough love with Kyren Williams. There's been a lot of love with Derek Dickerson and Marshall Faulk and Steven Jackson, Todd Gurley. But you look at what Kyren Williams has done, and I feel like Cam Akers got more love historically than Kyren has. In his 16 games, Alexis, because he's only had 16 starts. In that span, I went through this is what I do during the bye. I'm a psycho. I get it. I went through every single running back that has played in those 16 games. And the only one who really had more than him, because he was in the top 5 in every category, the one that had more than him the last 16 games that he started in yards after contact is Derrick Henry. But wait, I thought he was 5'9" and $195 and only ran 4.65 40. How does he have yards after contact? Exactly. He's been doing this, and because he's not 6'2" and 220 pounds and didn't ran a 4.4, a lot of people just don't give him the credit he deserves. So I think this is going to be one of those games where he gets it started. They do have a blessing here because they had last year, it was the Green Bay Packers, then the bye week. And then they came out without Kyren Williams. They had to survive one game. They beat Seattle in the ugliest game you'll ever see in your life. But that got it going, because then when they got Kyren back, they were able to win 7 of the last 8. Now they have Kyren, so they're not losing this game. Kyren's going to be the reason, big reason. 2 touchdowns, 150 yards. My second thing here, Ahkello Witherspoon. Okay, he's also another guy, just does not get enough respect. He had to fill these gigantic shoes of Jalen Ramsey last year, and he did it without any complaints or anything. 18 straight games, including the playoff game, played injured down the stretch. All anybody remembers is the Giants game. I was at that game, gave up the touchdown. I believe that was to Jalen Hyatt. So that's all anybody talks about, right? But the reality is he was a top 15 cornerback last year. I think Ahkello Witherspoon gets a pick in this game. I do. And number 3, this is going to be a fun one. I think this is the Jared Verse game as well. I think Verse gets 3 sacks on Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell can't run. That's not a good combination. This is a team that is getting one of the highest pressure rates in the NFL. You wouldn't know because they're 1-4, and it's just fun to say that defense is trash. But the reality is that they make a couple, different moves here. We'll see if they do anything in the linebacker room. I do think we'll see Spates. I don't know how much, but I do think we'll see him. If they made any sort of adjustments, well, now during this bye week, this should continue and the secondary should get better. And that's where I think this comes in. So I'm going to say Jared Verse 3 sacks, Ahkello Witherspoon interception, and I'm going to go with Kyren Williams 2 touchdowns and 150 yards.
Love it. Love to hear. You did take a Kyron, one of mine, but
I
you
had
and I
to.
both knew that as soon as you
Yeah.
started speaking. I'll, you know what? I'll keep it in there because, I think
Yeah, why not?
it's a pretty good bet. I had Kyron Williams 2+ touchdowns. Listen, this is going to be a game where I think the Rams run the ball a lot, and I think that Kyron is going to see a lot of reward with that. So, listen, you talk about a red zone threat. He is the red zone threat on the Rams. It is Kyron Williams. So, I think when the Rams are in the red zone, I hope that they don't try to get cute with it. None of these low percentage plays. Give the rock to Kyron. He'll get it done. 2 touchdowns for Kyron Williams. Next prediction. Um, okay. So defensively, this one might be a little bold. I think that, well, I don't know that this is bold, but I have 5 sacks, 5+ sacks for the Rams defense. I
I
just
don't think it's
do.
that
I
bold.
I
Like
don't think
it's
it's that
it's good.
bold. I mean, listen, going against this offensive line, going against Aiden O'Connell, who, like you said, not very mobile. I think that, the Rams have been on the cusp. They've been getting there. They haven't been finishing. They haven't been, closing out the tackles. So I think that, we're gonna see that. So I think that the Rams are gonna get 5+ tackles. Last prediction I'm gonna have. I had one, but I think I'm gonna change it.
Yeah, it was tough
You
for
know
me to
what?
do receptions because I just said how good the receiving defense or the receiving defense. What the hell? The pass defense that they have. And I don't know about the status of Cooper Cup. So that's why I didn't do like an Atwell or Whittington. Just too much uncertainty to like feel good about you know.
I'm gonna say Cameron Curl interception.
Okay, I like it.
I feel good because like we touched on, I think if you put the pressure on Aiden O'Connell, I think he's really going to struggle. I mean, they probably are going to rely on the run game, but I doubt that they're going to run the ball every single play. He's going to be forced to have to throw the ball. You could see some interceptions this game. I'm going to say Cameron Curl. I feel good about that. Um, so yeah, Jake and I have both made our predictions. We are both predicting a Rams win at SoFi Stadium this Sunday. God help us all if we're wrong. We'll have a very different show for the rest of the season if we are. But Jake and I are feeling good about this, guys. We're feeling good. Gonna get the W coming out of the bye, hopefully. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us. Jake, any closing thoughts?
That's all I
Other
got.
than,
It'll be fun. Hopefully, I think it will. Um, I think this is the start. I really do. Very similar to last year. They had a bye against the, following a down. I want to say, I mean, they didn't really outplay the Packers like they did last week. Like last year, they had Brett Rippon, right? But they had every
right.
opportunity to win that game because that defense played at a high level. And Brett Rippon was just god awful. So after that, they have a bye. They come off, they beat Seattle, and then they win 7 of the last 8. I think they're going to go on a similar run. Does that mean they're going to win, every game from here on out? Not really. But I think we're going to see a 9-3 or an 8-4 team, and I think they're going to get into the playoffs. But it all starts tomorrow, and if they don't do it, they actually are blessed with the opportunity where they go against the Raiders. They win that game, Alexis, and then Thursday night on a short week. Guess what? They have a short week, and so do the Vikings. And guess who the Vikings are playing this week? The Lions. Guess who has literally not won a game? Guess what team has played a team, and the next week after playing them hasn't won the next game? The Lions. Every single team. And Chris Long brought this up. He said it's very similar to the 49ers from last year. Every team, every time they played the 49ers, the week after they would lose. So we'll see. I think the Vikings have slowly but surely, you start to see Sam Darnold slowly come back to down to earth. We'll see. But that's how I feel. I feel confident. I feel good about this team. And just look out for the trade deadline because if the Rams win the next 2 games, they have Seattle. Because they have the short week, they have 3 games before the trade deadline. I think there's a real chance that they make a big move.
Yeah, we'll definitely be on the lookout for that and be covering it if it happens. But guys, until then, you can follow us on social media at Downtown Rams. You can follow me on Twitter at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK and we will be back Monday night to recap the Rams game versus the Raiders. But until then, guys, as always, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.